Looks like some Disney park may be opening soon. Let's check on that. Hey there, this is Tom from Tom Tech Show, and today we're gonna cover this article I found from USA Today that Disney parks may start opening soon. The Shanghai Disney Park has this open date of May 11th, which is in just about 5 days from now. But they do have some, stipulations and recommendations. The government told them that they can open at 30%, which is 24,000 people. They said they're going to open far below that. So what I had thought was going to be is probably, I think you had to do this anyway at Shanghai Disney, which was you had to sign up ahead of time for what day you were going to go to the park. So you have to go to the reservation system and say, I'm going to be here this day. And then if there's space, right, since they're only limiting how many people are going to be there, then you're only going to let in, once it's full, then you're going to have to go to a different day. Probably similar to the system, when they started opening, Galaxy's Edge, right? They already have all these systems in place for how many people can go. And then once you get in the park, they say they're not fast passes and other things like that are not going to be there. That probably they're going to be using the queuing system. So we already have the queuing system for Rise of the Resistance. So I'm sure they're going to be using something very similar for all rides that they can in the park. Once it does get open, and to keep people from, you can go stand out somewhere else. And then when it's your turn to go, and there may be smaller queue groups, to not, if the park's only going to open, I think Disneyland holds like 90,000 or something like that since, maybe 100,000 since Galaxy's Edge added some space. I think I may be wrong about the max capacity, but if they're going to open lower in capacity like Shanghai does, maybe there'll only be 15,000 in the park. So that's going to be pretty easy to stay away from each other once we get there. Just to protect families that are there who have older parents or people who are vulnerable, when they go home, kind of thing. So they kind of cover, that it's going to be a slow opening. I'm hoping, that Disneyland here is going to open pretty soon. Our passes, last time I checked, let me not make a liar out of myself. Our passes, yeah, they still expire on May 31st, so they haven't moved that date at all. We did speak with one of the kind of head chef people that work at the park, who was actually at the park yesterday, and they're doing what he was calling a hibernation check. So going through all the different systems, making sure that they're locked down, they're still clean, they're still, maybe do some test, type things to make sure that gas lines and other things work in the kitchens and things like that. So they're still doing that. They're still making sure that everything is running and that everything works in the park for when it does open. So they're maintaining a preparedness state. So it was good to hear from them, and hopefully we'll be able to get in there. And I'm making reservations. I think in July we had many things. The restaurants are open to make reservations, so I'm just making reservations for every weekend out that I can, because Disney is going to automatically be canceling those. So I can at least have my reservations in place and ready to go when we get to head back into the park. But I know there's going to be some different things. The temperature thing's not going to work, taking people's temperatures, because people can not have symptoms and still have it. I don't know, maybe there'll be, when you sign up for your day to go, it may have a big thing that comes up on the screen that says you release Disney from all liability if you get sick, because are you going to take the risk or you're not going to take the risk? I'm all for the risk. I don't think this thing is as bad as it was portrayed to be. So it's going to be a little bit worse than a normal flu season, definitely. But and it's going to hit the older folks, and I hope that when I get up there to be an older folk, that they'll take care of me in the same way that we want to take care of them now, right? So, but I do want to get back to the park. So we'll have to go. So the first step would be to sign up for the days that you go. Probably sign some waiver of liability for the Disneyland park. Then once you get there, being a smaller crowd, parking will probably not be a problem. There may be, some cleanliness check. Make sure everybody has a mask when they go in to the park. When you get on a tram or whatever to get into the park, and then once you're in the park, you're gonna have to. It's odd because when they do costume things, adults can't wear masks, but now I think we're going to have to wear masks in order to be in the park. So that's kind of a flip. But so everyone's probably going to have to wear a mask. I know that there's all kinds of PPE that are going to be there for all the Disney employees, and there's going to be tons of hand sanitizer. Employees are probably going to wear and change gloves often, kind of thing. It'll be kind of fun to see if there are any good, real Disney patterned, masks. I know they have the ones that they're releasing that we bought. They're going to be out in July. We bought some the Marvel set of masks and stuff that they're making, and it's going to be interesting to see how many different patterns they have. Are the protection gear that the employer is going to wear, is that going to match the land that they're in, or is Disney going to go full on for it, creating all of these things? That would be kind of cool. For them to really dig and get into it and make the masks and gloves and protection equipment, everything match the land that the cast member is serving in. So that would be pretty fun. But then once you get in the park, if you want to get on a ride, you'll have to get into a virtual queue, and then you can go hang out wherever you're going to hang out or eat or whatever you're going to do. And then once your virtual queue is called, then you can head on over to the ride, and probably the lines will have markings for 6 foot distance between each person, so you'll have to get in the line and maintain that 6 foot spacing. And then I don't know if they're going to actually clean every car every time every person gets off, because that would make every ride take like forever to get through, because person gets off, get somebody on there, spray, clean, then move on, right? That's going to take a lot of time. So that may facilitate and be another reason for having less people in the park once they try and get that system down for how they're doing that. I don't know if they have like Thunder Mountain, are they going to run one car on one side while they're cleaning the car on the other side, after each run? That's going to make it's going to make a longer day, but I'm okay with it. I'd be okay with them not cleaning it at all, because out in the sun, especially those cars out in the sun, what's going to stay on them out in the sun? But it's definitely going to be different. Hopefully it'll all kind of fade out and get a little bit back to normal next year. Whether we're still in California next year, I don't know. We'll see. We may be over towards a different Disney park next year, but anyway, it's going to be different, and it's. I just wanted to open up. I wish that we could just sign a waiver that says, "I don't care." I'll sign the waiver that says, if there's a problem, I'm not holding you liable now, and just go, because I really think our family had it earlier in February, and we all got kind of sick in February, and Mrs. Tech Show actually had to have a Z-Pack, and extra stuff for her asthma, so which is kind of right up the alley of what this does. So I don't know. I'd be ready to go back now. Today would be good. This weekend, let's make reservations. Oh, if only the system were working. All right. Well, let me know what you think. You think we're going to get back in sooner? Maybe July? The new Marvel area is supposed to open in July. Or is that going to be August, September? I don't even want to think. I don't want to even think about not being able to go for Christmas holiday. That's almost unthinkable, right? That Disney is so decorated and dressed out, and we go to the candlelight procession all the time, to watch that and stuff the first weekend of December. Just missing that again is, something I don't want to do. So kick it in gear, get the park open, let me sign a waiver, and I'm good to go. All right. Well, thanks for watching this, and what do you think? We're going to get in the park sooner or later? Is it going to be January 1st, 2021? Because I'm not liking that. November even seems like a long ways off. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care.